I had by far the best reading month in April ever. I read 13 books, multiple 5 stars, and I want to tell you all about them because what a month. The first book I read was Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. That is the 3rd book in the Windy City series, and it was rated 5 stars. What a great way to start off the month. This book was so cute. There was nothing wrong with it. It followed, gosh, okay, I'm gonna have to go back through all the characters. I am so bad with characters. This follows Kai and Miller. Kai is a single dad. He basically got dumped with his child and he had kind of no trust with women to look after, or anyone really, to look after his child while he is playing baseball. Yeah. Basically, his coach's daughter comes into town because she is a very, very well-known pastry chef, but she has basically reached burnout, so she takes the summer off, and her dad slash Kai's coach suggests she babysits for Kai's son. He's very grumpy, he's very shut off, very, very blunt, and she's sunshiny, but also like quite sassy. She doesn't take no basically, and I loved it. It made me tear up as well. It was just so special. I really, really liked the book. 5 stars, would recommend. The second book I read in April was Blood Marked, which is the 2nd book in the Legendborn cycle, and I rated that 4 stars. This series is so fun. It's a young adult fantasy series, and basically Brie went to a new town after her mother died and basically realizes she's not just a regular schmegular girl. She's got some powers, and there's like different types of powers. There's kind of 2 ends to it. There's like the dark magic and the like ground magic, like grassy energies. My camera's a bit low. I'm realizing I'm like slouching trying to talk to you. That's in the first book, and then the second book she has to basically go and save. It was something else entirely. I'm really enjoying it. It's like a 4-star series at the moment. I am really enjoying it, and I have the last book to read, which is luckily on my May TBR. Then the 3rd book I read was The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore, and this got 2 stars. This got 2 stars. This was not for me. I hated this ending. I hated the 3rd act conflict. I hated the way this went. This follows Archer and Iris. Archer is a chef and basically moved back to Dream Harbour. That's it, Dream Harbour. His child, Olive, her mum also died, so he moves back to Dream Harbour to obviously take custody of his child and look after his child. But he also takes over the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, needs a babysitter, so enlists the help of Iris, who lives in Dream Harbour and needs a job. It was going so well. I really enjoyed it, and then the 3rd act conflict and what happened and the ending of this book I hated. I felt like it was not fitting, and Archer struggled a lot with being a dad. Understandably, he's a first-time dad, and Olive is like very young. I think she's a toddler, so you know, navigating that. And then the way this book ended I thought was just kind of low-key inappropriate. Like, it didn't seem right at all to me. If you've read the book, you may agree, you may not agree. 2 stars was generous. I think 2 stars, I gave it 2 stars because I loved it so much until that 3rd act conflict, and then it lost all love. Like, it was probably shaping up to be like a 3.754, and then it got thrown in the bin. So this was a no-no. Then, is this the best book I've read so far this year? Yeah. Fearless, 6 stars. The Powerless trilogy, I fear it may be my favourite. I thought Fourth Wing was my favourite series, but I honestly think this series must be my favourite. This book was absolutely everything and more that I wanted. Lauren Roberts absolutely brought the house down. She slayed. She absolutely slayed with this book. This is the last book in the Powerless trilogy, and basically this follows Paden, Kai and Kit. If you have not read Powerless, skip to here. I will put to here. If you have, then please do continue watching. Paden basically has to marry Kit. If you have read Reckless, you know that. And she then also does 3 more trials, like the trials in Powerless, to prove to Ilya that she is worthy as being queen. But because she is an ordinary, basically she was just getting rejected. So Kit was like, okay, let's let her prove herself, and then you can all see that she's a worthy queen. That's what this follows. But obviously, like I said, if you've read Reckless, you know Paden and Kai. So there's also kind of that challenge of navigating kind of what this whole thing means for them. What on earth are they gonna do? It was absolutely incredible. It was everything. I bawled my eyes out at this book. I'm not over this book. I fear I won't be over this book for many, many months. And let me just show you without the dust cover. I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. Honestly, beautiful. This whole series, 10 out of 10. This is one of my favourite series. So that is the next book I read. I think that's the 4th book. Then I read Funny Story by Emily Henry, another 5-star read. I loved this. I have not read Emily Henry for a few years before reading this, and she did not disappoint. This was incredible. This follows Miles and Daphne. They both got dumped by their partners for each other. So basically Daphne was with Peter and Miles was with Petra. Peter and Petra broke up with Miles and Daphne so Peter and Petra could be together because they were besties from like childhood. Daphne basically moves in with Miles because she's like, well, I've been chucked out of my house, and he's like, okay, well, you can come live with me. And then it follows from there. This was such a emotional and beautiful story. Sorry, my window's open. I will try and get rid of all this background noise. It was incredible. I loved it so much. Daphne is a librarian, Miles works at winery. They were very, very ordinary people, and I think that's why I love them so much, because it wasn't like unrealistic. I mean, the situation of your exes dumping you for each other, low-key kind of not unrealistic, but you don't hear about that every day. Regardless, this was just such a like heart-wrenching but like heartwarming. Like, I just felt so unbelievably connected to the characters. I was so in love with the characters. I just loved this book. I honestly want to reread this book, and that's how I feel about a lot of these books. Like, I want to reread Powerless, Reckless and Fearless. Then I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, which is the first book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. It got 1 star. I freaking hated this book. I didn't know what it was because everybody loves this series. I am clearly on another wavelength to most people because I did not like this book. I thought it was boring. The insta love, the plot, the whole thing. I was just like, I did not like it at all. I did not enjoy. This follows Clementine and Luke. Clementine moves back to town. It's a cowboy romance, which I normally love. She moves back into town. He basically hires her, I think. It was just so insta-love. Immediately I was like, oh, okay. And then it kind of was just very flat. I kind of want to continue the series. People have said it does get better. And the 4th book just came out and people are saying it's incredible. So I probably will continue it, but it's definitely not one that I'm rushing back to. Like, I have way more series and books which I am more gravitating towards. But yeah, that got a 1 star. Then the next book I read was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This got 4 stars. I've been putting off reading this since August. I bought this back in August and I've not... It's been on my TBR every single month and I've not read it. I finally got around to reading it. I, again, felt so emotionally connected to this book. I don't know if I was just really emotional over April. Like, I just felt so emotionally connected to so many of my books. Like, so many of the books I read in April, I feel like are literally like in my heart. Every single book that I really liked has a piece of my heart and my soul. This included. Although it only got 4 stars, it only got 4 stars because this is historical fiction. I've never read historical fiction before. Because it wasn't something I was so comfortable with, I didn't have that same feeling that I felt when I was reading Fearless and Funny Story, but I did really, really enjoy it. This follows Elizabeth Zott. Elizabeth is a chemist. This is set in 1960s. Yeah, early 1960s. Basically, it follows Elizabeth trying to kind of get some credit for her work, but not, as it is the 1960s and she's a woman. She goes through quite a lot of hardships. Basically ends up on this TV show, teaches people how to cook. It's called Supper at 6, but with like a very, very strong chemistry element, I guess. Like, she's not just like, oh, add the potatoes and then bake them for 45 minutes, blah, blah, blah. She kind of talks the scientific side of it, which was fun. Felt so emotionally connected to her and felt for her and really, really liked this book. I'm glad because, like I said, I've never read historical fiction and now I kind of want to. So it's a win because I've learned I like a new genre. I forgot to say, I have done reading vlogs on almost all of these books, and if you want to see more in-depth reviews, just go back and watch all my videos in April because I've basically filmed most of these books anyway. The next book I read though was The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson, and this got 3 stars. And on reflection, I think this was generous. I did not enjoy this book. This follows Delilah and Ian. Ian had a very public breakup with his now ex-wife, comes back to town. His best friend's sister is Delilah, who is on a baking show. Her views are dropping, and like I said, Ian had a really bad public breakup. So they agreed to do an episode on Delilah's TV show together. Before that, they obviously meet up. And like I said, Ian's best friend is Delilah's brother. I think his name's Sam. What immediately switched me off is the whole kid thing. Ian and Sam had been best friends for years and years and years and years and years. They're on the same team together. It's all very, you know, brother's best friendness, like childhood friends. And he hadn't seen Delilah in like 10 years, and it was the constant, oh, come here kid, and then, oh my god, wait, she's gorgeous. The insta love I hated. And then the whole book I was just like, it was fun, it wasn't bad, but I didn't like the kind of setup, and then it kind of just again felt flat. I really enjoy build up to a relationship in a book. I would be quite happy if they didn't get together or even kiss until like 67%. Like 67%, 60 to 70%. I don't care to have that insta love. It bores me. So this got 3 stars. On reflection, I think it would probably get 2.5, which is so sad because Lana Ferguson has such good ratings / reviews. I wanted to like her, and I will give her a second chance, but this was my first book and I was not impressed. Then I read Origins of an Academy Bully, Zodiac Academy 0.5, and The Awakening, Zodiac Academy number 1, both by Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. So I have started the Zodiac Academy and I loved both those books. I have now started The Awakening told by the boys, and I'm low-key not feeling it because it's the obviously same story just from a different POV, but I feel like I do need to read it, but I'm not enjoying it. Origins of an Academy Bully got 3 stars and The Awakening got 4. Origins of an Academy Bully is a novella, so nothing really like crazy happened. It was a good novella and I do think it added a lot to The Awakening. Like I understood way more having read it. And then The Awakening follows Darcy and Tori Vega. They are basically twins who were in the mortal realm or mortal world. In the magic world, Fey world, they are actually the daughters of the king and queen, the heirs at the Zodiac Academy, which is like a university. All want to be king and queen, but then they find out about Tori and Darcy. Lance, who is one of the professors, goes and grabs them and then basically brings them to the Zodiac Academy, and it's basically their journey of just kind of settling in, but so badly because all the heirs kind of just want them to die because they want to be kings and queens. So it follows that. It was fun. I think I'll continue the series, but like I said, I've started The Awakening told by the boys. I'm 21% through and I'm not enjoying it because it's just the same story. So I'm just like, well, okay, cool. But I'll say I'm on the fence. It's like 560 pages and I'm like, wowie, like why can't this just be another novella? Then I read, this is gonna be a top 5, maybe top 3 book of the year as well. Emily Henry, Great Big Beautiful Life. Like I said, 5-6 stars. This was incredible. This follows Alice and Hayden and Margaret. Basically, if you have read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, this is very, very similar, but Emily Henry style and Emily Henry romance. It's literally my dream in a book. Margaret's like 80 now and she was very, very famous throughout her life. Her family were very famous. She also married a rock star. She just had a very famous life. She was also a socialite. She was just living her dream. Maybe she wasn't. Actually, she definitely wasn't living her dream, but she was living a very famous life. And then when her husband died, she basically dropped off the face of the planet. No one's been able to find her. Alice and her dad were obsessed with the rock star that Margaret had married, and Alice was like, I want to know the tea. So Alice reaches out and is like, can I please have an interview? I'd love to write a book, like is it autobiography on your life? And Margaret's like, okay, I'll meet you. But when Alice gets there, she realizes she's not the only one that Margaret is meeting. And then comes in Hayden. Hayden is another journalist. Did I say Alice is a journalist? Alice is a journalist, so is Hayden. Hayden is quite a well-known journalist. He has won awards. He's just more, what's the word? He's got a little bit more experience, I guess. I don't know, not even. He just has more reputation, I guess. Margaret agrees to spend a month with both of them, each having their own days where they just talk about things that went on in Margaret's life, so Alice and Hayden can get to know her, get to know about her life, and then at the end of that month, Margaret can decide who she wants to write the book with. While doing that, Alice and Hayden also get to know each other, and there's the Emily Henry romance, and it was beautiful. It's set in a really small seaside town. The little plot twist at the end was not ready for. I was like, whoa. I was ready for something. There's things in Margaret's life she kind of doesn't say, and you kind of get that very, very early on. You can tell Margaret's like hiding stuff, and then when you figure it out, it's like, whoa. But yeah, this was 6 stars. I loved it. I loved this different thing from her. Like, it's not a straight romance, it's a kind of general fiction with a romance subplot, and I loved it. We are on to our 2 final books. I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This got 3 stars, well 3.5. This is the first book in the Hunger Games series, and the only reason it got 3 stars is I was confused. This follows Snow, Coriolanus, his story. And he's not the nicest, and this is obviously the story as to why he's not the nicest. And what's crazy is you understand obviously at the end why people don't like Coriolanus, and what was so weird and what I found so confusing, why I didn't like gel with this book so much, is because I didn't like him. Every time I read a book I'm like, oh my god, I love the characters. Like, in most books I read, I'm prepared to love the characters and I fall in love with the characters, or even if I find like one of them annoying, he's not like a, oh, I don't like you, I'm like, oh, okay, you're a bit annoying. With this, I did not like him. I did not like him at all. The ending was so horrible, and I was like, how can you give a book 5 stars when you don't like the character? Like, it's so clever, and technically it probably should be a 5 stars because Suzanne Collins, the author, wrote this so well, because I hated him at the end. I absolutely hated him. So maybe it should get a high rating, but because I didn't like him, I just find it too confusing, and I'm just like, I don't know. I literally don't know. So I gave it 3.5 because it was definitely not bad. It did take me a while to read and it was quite long. But yeah, basically this follows Snow in school, and he also then gets chosen to be a mentor for the Hunger Games, and he is the District 12's female mentor, Lucy Gray. Lucy Gray is a beautiful lady who sings a lot. She gets a lot of attention, and Snow is her mentor. It follows their kind of journey, like before the Hunger Games, in the Hunger Games, and after the Hunger Games. But I did really enjoy it. I think this left me confused, and I really want to read Sunrise on the Reaping and the Hunger Games because I need to just know what's going on. And the last book I read in April was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and this got 4.75 stars. It was so close to being 5 stars, and I'm so sad it's not. I was loving this book. I read this in less than 24 hours. It was so sad, and the ending I loved, but something just made me feel, oh. This follows Xavier and Samantha. This book literally starts with Samantha found a cat on the side of a road, took it to the vets to basically be like, I'm gonna take this cat. Found out the cat does not have a butthole. Xavier is a veterinarian. He is called Dr. Rush, and he's like, oh, you're gonna need surgery, and that costs $10,000. She's like, I don't have that money. And he was like, okay, well, the best thing I can recommend is putting the cat down, because otherwise it's just gonna get infected and die painfully. Samantha's like, hell to the no, and basically fundraises £10,000. He also donates £500, or well, dollars. Her little cat Pooter has the surgery. She then goes back in to give Pooter an examination with Dr. Rush. He then literally asks her out. This is on page 10. He's like, do you want to go for dinner? They then go on a date, but the next day she is moving to Southern California to look after her mum. I would check the trigger warnings for this. It was a very emotional and hard to read story. This romance was beautiful. The only thing I did not like is the fact that our main male character had to sacrifice an awful lot because Samantha was in such a predicament having to look after her mum. It makes sense. It does make sense. It just felt one-sided, but yeah, he had to make a lot of sacrifice. As much as it was for a good reason, it felt just sad because I felt for him. I guess I've already just said that, but I hope you get what I mean in saying that. I think it's well worth the read. I think it was such a beautiful read. Landed with a 4.75, but I loved it. And those are all the books I read in April, my ratings, etc. I hope you had a great reading month in April. I had an incredible reading month in April. Honestly, 10 out of 10. I'm so excited for May as well because I have such a good TBR. I have a video up in which my TBR jar picks my May TBR, so if you want to go watch that, it's on my channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you read in April or what your favourite book you read in April was. I'm so intrigued and I'm always looking for book recommendations. Follow my socials, they are in the description. Please do subscribe. I post all sorts of bookish content, and hopefully I'll see you again in another video. Kisses and hugs. Bye.